Okay, lads, I'll try and make this as quick as possible, but it may still end up being quite lengthy. I'll try and add some timestamps into vital or particular points, so you guys can skip to them or revert back to re-listen or re-watch if required. So I'm just going to quickly go over some of the more significant updates in the mission template, covering off on particular systems and whatnot, and then going into further depth into some of them later on. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Echo Recovery or Repair Depot, which is this here. So the man truck is the truck that allows them to lift and deploy these containers. Nothing really has to be done to this. The only thing that needs to occur to these containers is the script that is located inside it. Okay, box doesn't need to be called that. That's something else later on, which may or may not occur. With the vehicle, normal settings in regards to the ACE, so with a cargo space of 36, wheels of 6. The cargo space of 36 is so that the Jeep can be packed into the containers or the vehicle. So this Land Rover is actually now packable into the cargo. Now you would have seen that there was a script in this truck that is for the ACE Fortify, which has been updated to allow Echo to have more than one preset for their Fortify tool. I will show you that later on, but yeah, that's located in that truck. Now obviously if you just copy and paste, you don't have to worry about all of that, but if you are going to put it into a different vehicle or a different truck, then obviously you need to make sure those scripts are in there. We always give them two, so one spare. This is due to that they can't actually recover this container. It's the same as the Echo trucks. Always try to place one spare, simply because of the complexity of them. But all of the section and call sign vehicles, you do not need to place spares anymore because of this system. Okay, so as default, or an SOP for mission makers, I suppose, is to only have one of each vehicle or aircraft, except for Echo's specialized vehicles. Now, as you can see, we've got the 3CB vehicles and aircraft that have been added. There's a couple of aircraft over there, but a lot of 3CB new vehicles have been added to the available options. Now, you can obviously use whatever you want, really. Again, this is just a guide to indicate what that call sign could be using as a bit of a recommendation, I suppose. Now the Gulf artillery guns, they have been edited so they can be carryable. So you can see here they've got these scripts. Okay, so if you are going to be giving Gulf their guns, then to ensure that those scripts are inside. Again, a good quick copy and paste will be ideal. Same with the Sholov. Don't forget that the Sholov has its custom magazines added to that as well. So ensure that that has been added or sorted. That script in here also allows them to actually be packable into vehicles and stuff, so that the ACE cargo there allows that. Alrighty, the TFAR custom frequencies, so that frequency chart that I sent out a while ago, that's now been added. So each player now has his own frequencies set into each person. Let's see if I can get one that's got a couple. Actually, platoon SIG would be a good example. Over here. Here we go. So there. So you can see that there's all the frequencies are set for him. You can't set which are going to be alternate, which are going to be primary, unfortunately, but it will just help with them already being preset when he spawns in, and then he can just go through and set alternate and different stereo settings. So that's been done for each individual person. So another reason why it's important to use the copy and paste of either these guys located here, or using the quick and easy copy paste over there. These will be updated as much as we can, but honestly, I'm not going to, every time someone changes into a section and has a different loadout or layout of their frequencies, I'm not going to update it. So it's kind of like a quality of life thing that'll happen maybe once every couple of months. The pre-placed op-dem crates. So this is for when we are located on an aircraft carrier or somewhere that's a bit funky, where we can't use the hotel spawn truck or the Gulf spawn sign. Okay, so you've got the Gulf or the Gulf crates here for the different types of ammo and mortars and whatnot, with the Sholef being at the end there, and then you've got all of the hotel spawn ones as well. Okay, so this will all be provided so that if you need to, when we're on a carrier, you can just place maybe like 4 or 5 of each of these. It allows us to then, or allows hotel, sorry, to continue their resupplies as normal. The hotel area has been changed up along with the a number of helicopters available. Okay, so take note of that. Now they've only got 2 Black Hawks, the 1 CAS Black Hawk, the Chinook, the Little Bird, and the fucking Blackfish when necessary. Okay, they don't always need the Blackfish, so if you don't feel it's suited to the mission, then don't give it to them. Okay, that's only if we need to be considering lifting large vehicles or inserting huge numbers of people. Okay, we've also got the new hotel truck, which is this one here. Now this allows them to spawn FOB repairs, FOB ammo, and fuel, so that if when we capture an area that we want to turn into a forward operation base, is that they can spawn these containers, then lift them into that FOB, so it can therefore be used. Because one issue that we had in one of our missions is we occupied a FOB, but then there was nothing there available for us to effectively access. So a respawn module will be placed down by the Zeus, and then they'll spawn one of each of these crates. You'll note that the bottom one is the FOB Arsenal, and so that will spawn one of the new Arsenal supply boxes, which is the same color as what we normally have, but it will now have the new Arsenal system, which I'm going to go into a little bit more later. So that's that vehicle there as well. So as a absolute minimum, you want to be including the 5 trucks. The quad bikes aren't necessary, but if you want to, that's fine. The AA is also not necessary. Okay, that's just an option for them because in case they get attacked at HQ or whatever. Okie dokie. The the Echo and utility truck with the ammo has been increased to 10,000. That was just because they were running out of ammo really quickly when we were when they were resupplying 1-0. So these boxes have also been increased to 10,000 each as well. All right, now the part of the custom Arsenal setup is now that all players, or different roles, sorry, have different class names. So you'll see that a couple of them look different to each other. I've left them like that for a reason, just so you guys can visually see the difference between them. So you've got the section commander is set to squad leader, so the class name is the B_soldier_ SL_F. That is the class name. The, I guess, character name is the one that's above that, so squad leader. Then you've got rifleman. Then you've got squad leader again, because it's the same. Then you've got missile specialist AT as the MORS. Okay, so I've tried to make them relative to each other. So the medic is obviously going to be medic, combat lifesaver. Okay, the auto rifleman is going to be the machine gunner. So I've tried to make it make sense like that, and just so it's easier when you guys want to create custom arsenals, or if you want to. So each role within a unit now has a designated class, and that links to the what is available in the arsenal. Okay, so if you load in as a squad leader or this class, you are going to only get access to the staff, equipment and weapons. If you load in as a driver rifleman, he's only going to have access to the rifles without GLAs. He's not going to have access to MGs, and he's only going to have access to the smallest backpacks and all that sort of jazz. So again, I'll go into more detail about that, but that's something again that is very important that you guys ensure that you copy the class or the groups as they are, because these class names matter. Now what that means for midweeks, and if you wanted to, let's say, add a sniper team or whatever, then you would have to take note, and you may need to either replicate a class. So you might go to Delta and grab the marksman, wherever he is, marksman. So you may need to copy and paste him down a couple of times to then have, let's say, a sniper pair or extra marksmen in sections or whatever. Okay, so you can copy and paste all the current ones, or you can create your own, which again we'll go into at a later date or later time. Alright, I've removed the extra Zeus slots because they're simply not necessary. This is the new options that you have here, so significantly reduced. So there's only the 3 Zeus slots. If you need to add extra slots for role players or whatever, then you just copy and paste these 3 objects and link them together. Okay, so you sync the virtual curator to the module and then to the player. Okay, and then name them accordingly. If you're ever unsure, just jump into each of these, have a look at the settings, and replicate that. No longer are we going to have empty virtual ones, because we don't use them and they don't work. So we're now only going to use this system. Note to that is, remember that you must have the game masters set to the same side as us. The reason for this is, if you have the game master set to a red 4 and us to blue 4, then anything that they do in terms of music and scripts and stuff will run on the op 4 side, not the blue 4. Okay, so it's important to have them on the same side. Unfortunately, we just have to deal with the fact that we can see them on the map. It's not a big deal. They just teleport themselves somewhere where they can't really be seen. Alright, I've added to the Echo Truck some scuba equipment, and also just reshuffled the trucks themselves. So we now have the second option here being the man truck. It's a bit of a more compact version, looks a bit cool. They can also pop out the top to use an MG of some sort. So up to you, use it, or choose which one you so desire. But yeah, they're just being shuffled around a little bit with, I believe it's this box here, with now wetsuit, scuba stuff available. Yeah, in there. So that's kind of cool. Alright, now I've added the custom arsenal creation template to this, so you guys can reference this, or you can create your own custom arsenal creation mission, which is what I would encourage. I'll just open that to show you what I mean. So effectively what I do is I use this as an easier way to test if it's working. So you see there I've got custom arsenal creation. I use Stratus because it's a quick loading map, and it's very empty. All I've got is a couple of dudes down and this, so I can test the creation with it loading nice and quick, because obviously loading this mission is going to take, you know, a minute or two. I'll go into more depth about this later, but when I reference these crates, it'll be laid out exactly the same, and if I reference back to the template, you'll know where to find it and what these mean. I haven't gone into a lot of detail about, you know, on these comments, but they're simply linked to roles or to help you with arsenal creation, which again I'll go into shortly. Yeah, I've added the custom arsenal creation to the mission making guide. It's kind of minimalist. Hopefully this video will be the best way for you guys to learn. So yeah, apologies if it is a bit minimalist on the document. It's kind of hard to explain, especially with some of the tips and tricks I'm going to show you in this video. If this is not something you should have to do a lot, unless you're really restructuring the entire arsenal. Okay, this will be pretty good if you only need to add or remove a couple of things to a particular role, especially, or if you want to do things like add suppressors to the entire arsenal. Okay, so I've got crates that you'll be able to export and then just add to the general items to allow suppressors for the mission. Okay, so I have sort of considered that. Alright, one thing that I have done is removed images from the mission template file, so that will severely save the mission file size. So what that means though is that these signs now have different scripts, okay, because it's now referencing the ASOP mod and obviously referencing into through the files into, through the folders into the particular file. Okay, so it used to be just this set object and then images 0, 1, 1, 0, but now it's referencing to the entire mod path. Okay, so again, making sure that when you're updating your mission, which again we'll go through the example, is that you are taking all of these signs and updating them, because otherwise they're not going to work and you're going to have an error pop up. Okay, so that's very important. Alright, I'm now going to go into the updated mission template folder, which is here. Doesn't look hugely different, but there has been some fairly significant changes. Okay, now one thing I've gone through and done is updated or gone through each script individually and removed any unnecessary things. Okay, with the major addition, or the newest, I guess, newest and major addition being the optional files and scripts folder. Okay, so this will be available in the template, and you simply access this to add any of the extra components that you want for your mission. If you do not want to use CBRN, radio jamming, or the patient script, the AI MCI, simply delete this before you export your mission. Okay, so you're obviously going to copy all of these required mission files minus the SQM, because that's going to be your custom mission. Then if you don't want any of that CBRN stuff, don't copy that as well. Okay, copy from your template to your mission and you're good to go. Right? So how do you add these things to your mission if you want? Okay, this is put in the J2 mission making guide. So if you do need to add these, then reference that. But also it's quite easy, because what I've done is I've tried to replicate what you would see in your mission making folder. Mission making template. So you see here you've obviously got description.ext, init.sqf, so they're the same as these ones here, description.ext, init.sqf, etc, etc. Okay, so what this means that if there's a description.ext in here, open it up, and then I've also put some little instructions at the top, okay, to indicate where this stuff goes. You also will include, it'll give you a hint as to what else you need to reference. So you'll see here that you also need to add something from the init server.sqf, which is this mission file just here. Okay, and then you'll also need to add this CBRN folder located in the scripts folder. Which if I just scroll across, scripts folder. So scripts folder, CBRN. Okay, so you've got the J2 mission making guide, which will step you through. You've also got in these actual script files, you've got instructions as well. So it should help catch any that you may miss. Now, so what I'll go back to, so if it's in the description.ext, for example, so in here, I would then go to my mission template, my description.ext, so you see I got two open now, and I would copy over all of the stuff that's in here. If you get the instructions, that's okay. It's not going to do anything because it's got 2 forward slashes. But if you take that, you would then paste it into the bottom of your description.ext, then you would save it. Okay, I'm not going to do that obviously because I don't want to edit this. Alright, and then you would go through and do the same for any other required ones. For any scripts that aren't in the description.ext, etc. So really the only two that are there are the TFAR jam radios and the add rating.sqf. So if they are not located in one of the mission required files, then you simply would take it from there, so you'd copy, and you would paste it into the actual mission directory. Okay, so think of this optional files and scripts as the ASOT mission template folder itself. Okay, that's probably the best way to think of it. I'm just going to delete those two. Then this TIB practice patient, again, it's not located in a scripts folder or anything like that. So you would copy and paste that into the mission template directory. All right, cool. That should be pretty self-explanatory for all of that. I'll now move to the custom arsenal creation, which is this folder here, and I'll load up the mission, and I'll go through how that works. Alrighty guys, so now I've got open the custom arsenal creation mission that I used to create the new arsenals that we've got. Please bear with me if I do a little back and forward with this, because to explain this is going to be a little bit difficult, but I'll try and do my best and try not to confuse you guys too much. Now, the first and probably most important thing is that you guys need this arsenal database crate in the mission somewhere. Okay, it doesn't have to be right next to the HQ or whatever, but what I've done is I just have it invisible. So turn off show model, make it a simple object, and it's got to be called arsenal underscore database. Okay, the reason for that is it links, it references to that, and effectively brings all the scripts in, or all the arsenals in together, and creates a database which then allows us to access it all at once. Okay, if you don't have that database a box there, then it's not going to work. Okay, a little bit of a, I guess, run through of the layout of all of this is I've simply got one of each of our characters. So, you know, I've got a rifleman for Delta, I've got a marksman for Delta, blah, 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 Echo. So the reason for that is so I can test this in multiplayer in my own editor server, and I can check to see that particular roles are working. Okay, I always do that to try and make sure that I haven't fucked something. Because you might have 1-0 working, being maybe at the top of the list, or rifleman at the top of the list, sorry, but then hotel pilots at the bottom of the list might be fucking out. Okay, so it's a good idea to have just a test of each one. The guys that are in blue here that aren't playable, this was just from when I was creating them, so deciding on which class name was going to be linked to each role. So you can ignore those for now, hence why they've got some comments, and the Echo, Staff, Golf, etc. The test arsenal box is simply as it sounds. So this is the only box that has the arsenal option available, which if we open up, this is the script that is required for us to access the new arsenal system. Okay, so no longer are we using this Ace Arsenal mode down here. You can do if you want to create something just for a midweek, or you need to create a very specific arsenal for like let's say a VIP role player or something like that. So you can still use that, but just make sure that the class name isn't the same as one of these, because if they are, then it'll remove the items that they're not allowed to have usually. Okay, so making sure that this is in all of the arsenals that you wish to have that action. So let's say that this is the arsenal that's near 1-0, then I need to make sure the script's in that. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie crate, the scripts need to be in all of those. Okay, so that's how that works. Alright, so to first explain how to create it, or correction, before I explain about how to create it, I should probably show you the script and explain each step in that. This has also been added to the J2 mission making guide, and I've tried to explain it as best as possible, but I'll try and explain it in here as well. Okay, so CHSA is the guy who created this script, and we've just edited it to suit our functionality. Okay, so in here is the config.sqf. This is where all the magic happens. Alright, now it seems very daunting at the start, but it's actually quite simple. So hopefully you guys will not be too overwhelmed and be able to possibly create your own arsenals in the future. Starting at the very top, we've got target, disregard that, we don't need to worry about that. Restriction, distance. Now, the feature that the arsenal has is that it will search that distance and will remove any items from people's inventory that they are not meant to have. Okay, so it's effectively my policeman, and to make sure that people are carrying what they should. By default, it's set to 250 in the mission template. Oh, actually, correction, it's not, because I can see it right there. So I'll fix that up. So it'll be 250 default in the mission template. Okay, that is non-negotiable, okay? Because I don't want people jibbing the system, because that's the whole reason for this. Once they get outside that restriction distance, they can access each other's inventories. They can share willy-nilly, okay? It's obviously we can't set it for the entire server, or I'm not going to worry about that too much. But it's essentially just to stop people bulk taking mags or sharing stuff like radios and things that they shouldn't whilst they're at the HQ. Right, the next part is where you specify the name of the role. So for those who have checked out the new system, you would see when you go into select specialization, it would have had what your class was or what your name was. Okay, so that is that effectively, that is the spec names. So each role has a class name or a role name assigned to it. So rifleman is driver/rifleman. Officers are all of the 1-0, LTs, sergeants, that sort of stuff. Obviously sergeant not officer, but you get what I mean. Section staff is, as it sounds, section staff. Section medic, section Moors. Machine gunner is LMG and MMG. Signaller is the SIGs and FOs. Doctors is pretty much Pants. He's the only one that got that role. Crewman is all the 1-0 crew gunners, sorry, and the crewman medic, which are our drivers, is that role, etc, 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 etc. Okay, all pretty self-explanatory. Now the spec slots, this is how many people can select that specialization at that select specialization option. So when you walk up to the arsenal, you have the arsenal and then you have the select specialization. You'll note that there is nothing listed in the select specialization. Now that's because all of these are set to -1. What that means is that you have to be loaded into that slot for you to gain access to it. You can't chop and change. The reason I've set it to that is so that people can't load in and as like a rifleman, for example, and then access the section medic specialization, because then they're going to have access to the medic packs, which gives them more space, which then defeats the purpose of, you know, the whole restriction. So please make sure that's set to -1 for your missions. Again, this is only going to be necessary if you need to create custom arsenals. Now, you need to have however many types that you have here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, 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 down to 19, because I know there's 19. You need to have the same number of -1s. So there's 19 -1s here. Okay. Note that at the end number, you must remove the comma. Okay, so if you're ever unsure when you're doing this stuff, just look closely and reference anything, any important points like that. Now, the spec types, this is the soldier or the slot class name. Okay, so any riflemen, drivers, recruits will all be classed as B soldier light F. Okay, so if I go down to a section driver, which will be these guys, you'll see there B soldier _F. Right, if I go to section leader, they're going to be B soldier squad leader _F, which will be, so we go to section staff being the third one, 1, 2, 3, B soldier squad leader _F. Medics, okay, they are at the end here, B _medic _F. Go along, rifleman 2, 3, 4, number 4, B medic _F. Okay, so each role now has a class name or a character designated to that person, as discussed before. This is where it is listed. Right now, again, this needs to be in the same order as this. Right? So rifleman's at the front, sorry, at the start. He's at the start here, needs to be the first one here. Okay, he then needs to be the first one here, and then it also needs to be the first one here. Okay, so I'll go into these lower parts in a minute, but always making sure that it's in the same order every step. Right, making sure, important note, to make sure there's no comma at the very bottom one. Okay, so you see they've all got commas here. making sure there's no comma at the bottom. Right, now we sort of get into the actual items available in the arsenals themselves. So general items refers to the items that everyone has available. Okay, so that's things like faceware, the uniforms, scopes, attachments, ammo, all that sort of jazz. Okay, so chem lights, as you can see, you got chem lights and all sorts of stuff. That is added to every single arsenal. So things like stitch kits, packs, morphine now, so you can't have morphine in the general items. Things like that are not to be added because otherwise everyone will have access to it. Okay. Now, you'll see here that we've got a general items box. Okay. So you need to have a general items arsenal to create that list effectively. All right, and we'll go into the actual creation of them in a minute, but that is what that is referencing. Right, now as you can see here, you can probably gather from all the names, is that now this is the specific items available to that role. So a rifleman, he's going to have available to him only rifleman weapons, so no GLAs, no MGs, etc. So in general items, there are no weapons, only, pistols are in there, but no long arms, so no primaries. And no launchers, because not everyone should have access to the launchers as well. Okay, so the only thing really that is missing from general items is primary, launchers, backpacks, because obviously we've got the specific role backpacks, and particular equipment like med supplies and golf range finders and all that piss. All right. Also to note is that 152s are no longer in general items. The smaller RF 7800 radios are now in general items, so everyone's got available to that. But only particular roles will have access to the 152, the ANPRC 152 radio. All right, so that's probably the best way to explain it. Then so officer items will then obviously have access to rifles and GLAs. They'll also have access to the 152s. They'll have access to laser des. Section staff, same thing, pretty much exactly the same thing really. It's just officer items has access to the CAV uniform. That's pretty much the only difference there. Section staff is going to be the same thing. Section medic is going to be the same as rifleman, but then just access to stitch kits. That's pretty much, and morphine. So there's 2 extra items there, so they're going to be very similar. The reason I say that is because when it comes to creating them, creating like the rifleman, the machine gunner, and the section staff are going to be the probably 3 longest ones, because then you can just copy the rifleman and edit accordingly, because a lot of them are based off the rifleman loadout, just with extra stuff. Okay, so that'll be a good little tip for later. As we go down, obviously we need to account for the role and the different equipment that they'll need available. All right, spec items. Now this is essentially classing all of this stuff. So you'll see if I go to the end of Rifleman, you'll see here that it's got plus, whoops, bugger. It's got plus general items. If I can bloody find it. Sorry, one sec. See here. So it's got plus general items. Okay, this is adding all of the above. So it's adding all of this stuff. Okay, so at the back of each one, there is plus general items, plus general items. You can see. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's so tricky sometimes in this. Plus general items, there you go. Okay, so it's essentially combining all of that. Now, this spec items down the bottom is referencing these things, okay, and it's also confirming the order that it's going to be in. So you can see you've got rifleman items, officer items, section staff items. It's all in the same order as this. It's all in the same order as this. Okay, so again, that's why it's very important to keep them all in the same order. If you do have an error where you're loading into a slot and it's saying that you're an officer when you should be a rifleman or something else, then check that. You may have messed up the order in which you've got them listed. The bottom stuff, don't worry about that. You shouldn't have to edit any of that. Right, I know that's a lot, and can be a bit daunting, but we'll actually go into the actual creation of them now. Just going to have a quick sip of water. Alright, now what I would recommend is creating what I call a base box. Now this is essentially including everything that you want available within the ASOT arsenals. So I'm talking weapons, I'm talking launchers, pistols, scopes, all that sort of jazz. Alright, now it's not going to include backpacks. It's going to include faceware, it's going to include the NVGs, and it's going to include all the basic medical and whatnot. Now the reason I've included the weapons for this one is because you need to gain access to the ammo. So to do that, you want to add all the weapons that you want available, and then you're going to go into the magazines and you're going to add compatible items. What that's going to do is it's going to add all the compatible ammo for those weapons. Now I've gone through and I've removed any of like the 40 round mags and 100 round mags for the rifles. Okay, so we've only got LMG and MMG boxes, hopefully, fingers crossed. Now once I've got this, it's always good to just keep it, because it's like a safeguard. It's like, oh, okay, I fucked it. I fucked this box. I can go back and I can select this base box. Now, once you've done that, you can see here that I've made some different ones. I've made some base weapons and things like that. And so that just helps with the creation of particular arsenals for, like, say, the MMG or the staff and that sort of thing. So I can go through and I can remove, or this has just got weapons in it, and I can go through and remove all the weapons that I don't want for that particular role. So with the base box, to create a general items box, essentially you're going to copy that. Okay, I'm just going to do it in front of it as an example, and you're going to remove anything that you don't want available in the general items. So weapons, I don't want weapons, so I'm going to remove that. Launchers, you can see, oh, well, there's actually none in there, so my apologies, but you would remove any launchers. Pistols you would leave, because anyone can have access to the same pistol. Note that the minesweepers are not part of the default kit. Scopes, happy for you guys to have access to all the scopes at any time. Obviously not the high-powered ones, but everyone can have access to the same scopes. Okay, it makes it a hell of a lot easier than trying to make compatible scopes in the same arsenal with the different roles and that sort of stuff. So just make it easy on yourself and do all of them scopes that we use available to everyone. Same with attachments, same with flash hiders and that sort of stuff, same with bipods. Ammo, again, you would leave, okay, because you want everyone available or able to pick up the ammo. Now the reason for that is so things like LMG gunners or Morse gunners can have their ammo carried by someone else if required. If we didn't have that, then you wouldn't be able to go into the extra magazines and grab it, because it wouldn't be available to your role. So I've just left it so that we can still share ammo in the HQ in that regard. Helmets can stay the same, or everyone can have access to the helmets, obviously. Uniforms, everyone can have access to the uniforms, only exceptions really being the cav overalls, the hotel flight suits, and that's it. The vests, everyone can have access to, it's no problem. The backpacks, you are not going to add. Now you can see there, because we've got different types now. So you've got the normal, then you've got Echo version, Golf version, Hotel, LMG, Moors, Medic, Mike, etc. Okay. Faceware, you can have everyone access to. NVGs, remove knee pads. They're no longer a thing because they give us full NVGs, so we'll only use the NVGs wide from now on. Binoculars, you're only going to have binoculars, rangefinders, and the vectors, not laser des, because that's a specified staff item. Maps, it's no problem. Compass, no problem. That's actually incorrect. So that needs to be the RF 7800S. Okay, so that is the new default radio that is available to everyone. Not everyone will get access to the 152. Absolutely need to make sure that the Dagger radio programmer is available to everyone because that links in with that RF radio. Again, GPS, UAV terminals not available to anyone. Grenades obviously available to everyone. Explosives only available to Echo. And then you're going to go through and only do the basic medicals. Okay, so you'll note that morphine, or correction, I'll adjust that. Morphine is no longer available to everyone. Okay, so make sure of that. Note that painkillers is now our general pain-killing fix for section members and whatnot, and that's available in the magazines. Okay, so just type in painkiller and then you would add that. Okay, once you've got that, you have effectively created your general items list. Okay, so what you're going to do is once you've done that, open that up, you then go to the all option and go export. Okay, it doesn't come up with anything, but it just exports. Now I'm just going to do this under here, and then you would paste it in. Okay, correction, you would go up to here, general items, making sure that you don't cover up the end fucking whatever that is, semicolon, and you would paste that in. Okay, again, don't forget that at the end. Now this obviously doesn't have general items at the end because it is the general items. Alright, so you've now pasted in the general items. You now need to start on the role specific arsenals. Right, so what you can do from there is you can grab your base weapons or your base box. And this is where it gets a bit tedious, or where the time gets consumed. Because you're going to go through your base box, right? You're going to remove everything that was in the general items because you no longer have to adjust that. So you're going to remove that, you're going to remove the scopes, you're going to remove the attachments, suppressors. Yep, you can get rid of the ammo, you can get rid of the helmets, you can get rid of the uniforms, you can get rid of the chest rigs, etc, 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 and off you go. Okay, so bear with me while I just do this, making sure that the correct radio is set. Get rid of that, get rid of that, because there's no point doubling up. Okay, and the riflemen, they're not going to have access to anything different, so you can get rid of that as well. So what you need to do now is go through, so essentially you're doing weapons and backpacks. So you're going to go through and you're going to deselect any of the weapons that they should not have access to. So any of the ones that have GLAs, you're going to go through and remove any that have LMGs. To make this a bit quicker, okay, you'd go through and remove all the LMGs, etc, etc. All right. Being the riflemen, they're going to have access to the launchers, so you would access to the launchers. So apologies, there is something extra. The best way to do it, personally, is I just thought about it, and I went, okay, riflemen, they need rifles, they need launchers. Do they need anything special for the pistols? No. Do they need anything special for that? No. And I just kind of went through to just double check to make sure that I didn't miss anything, like I did just then. The backpacks for riflemen and signalers and stuff like that, they are using the default ASOT packs. Okay, so essentially ones that don't have a role linked to it. Okay, so if they've got a role linked to it, it's for a specific purpose or person. If it doesn't, if it's just ASOT assault pack or carry-all pack, then it is the default /rifleman one. Okay, so once you've gone through, I'm not going to go through and do all the weapons, but once you've done that, same thing. Export, you go to the rifleman, so go to the end, but making sure we're not getting the general items portion at the end there. Paste it in. Alright. Checking that the general items is good. Yep, sweet. Alright, on to the next one. Now we go to officer items. You can see where this is going. You go bang, go all the way down the line, okay? So yes, it does take some time. But for an example, right, we go down to signaler radioman. Now, or even the Moors, or the medic, actually. But let's go signaler radioman. That is essentially a rifleman with access to long ranges. So what you can do, rather than having to do what I just did every single time, is you can grab the rifleman, copy that, go down to your signaler section, paste that down, and then just open this, and they can have access to the packs. That's fine. That's not a problem, because if they're not going to be running long range, they're going to be running one of these packs. But then you just go in and you just add in the long range. So again, because it's not linked to anything, this is the default signaler / rifleman / FO long range. So you now see that we've got a staff long range version, so not that one, obviously. Once you've done that, that's pretty much done. That role's done, because there's nothing else really, or maybe Laserdez. I can't remember off the top of my head if I gave them Laserdez, but they would get Laserdez as well. So yep, whatever. And then obviously grab your batteries as well. It's under magazines. Cool. So that's done. So it doesn't take too long. Okay, same as the medic, if we were going to do the medic. So they're going to have the exact same weapons and stuff available as a rifleman, but you're just going to have to go in. You're going to have to add morphine, wherever the bloody hell it is, morphine, and you're going to have to add the stitch kit. As a very quick example, that's pretty much it. Okay, so use your ones that you've made up here to expedite the process down here. Okay, so for section staff, you know, when you get to obviously like engineer section staff, it's going to be very similar. So grab the section staff one, drag it down here, or copy and paste, and go from there. Now you'll see that you'll notice I've got some other extra ones out here to help with creation of specific roles. So you've got base rifleman without launchers, so the marksman, this is for the marksman. The echo guys, I've got them in between to indicate, so you've got echo explosives and kit, it's meant to say, not kite. I don't normally have to show this stuff, so I don't really care about spelling in that in these. Golf, you've got golf equipment, okay? So it just helps with combining the weapons and stuff available into this. So I'll use the echo as an example. Okay, so I've got engineer section staff and I've got an engineer role, because obviously the engineers are not going to have access to the GLAs and the same stuff like long range as the echo section staff. So what I've done is I've gone and created an echo explosives and kit box, which includes things like the cargo sling, the defusal kit, the fortified tool, the firing devices, mine detectors, etc., etc. Okay, I think I've also included the, oh no I haven't, but that must be, I must have created that in the default box. But then I've also gone and added all their explosives that they need. Now, so that it's literally quite an empty box, like that's it. Okay, now you might be like, well, why have you done that? I'll explain now. To create an echo section staff box, what I did is I went down, I grabbed the section staff items, which has everything that a section staff member is allowed to have. I paste this down. I grab the export of this. So the echo staff have access to all of the staff stuff here. I go to the backpacks. I add in the echo packs. Okay, I won't do it, but you go through and add all the echo packs. Not that the echo staff are really going to need access to that, because they're going to have the long range, but it just gives them the option. So I would go through and add all those. Right, once I've done that, to save having to go and add all the explosives and shit in both boxes, I found this a bit easier. Export, go to a new empty tab or document, paste that in. Okay, now that's just going to save that there for us for now. Hit OK. I now take my echo explosives and kit. I scroll down, I export, go to my little Duvalaki here, enter, paste that in. So now I've got the section staff and the explosives in the same document. Now I just need to combine them. So I go to the start of the second line, get rid of that bracket, and I put in a comma. I go to the top one, I go to the very end, I get rid of that bracket. Okay, I can then go back down to the number 2, go to the end, so the start of it, hit backspace, and it's now combined them, okay, into one long line. So you see here, if I just highlight it to make it a bit easier to see, that is where the connection is. Okay, so as long as it looks like that, it's got the quotation marks, comma, quotation marks. Now, if I grab all of that, close out of that, I go to my box, I can then, as an example, I'll clear that and then import. It might freeze for a second, and now it's imported all of what was in the section kit, as well as, you can see, actually explosives, imported the explosives and stuff as well. So rather than having to go through and go, double click, double click, double click, that I found is an easy way to create that. Now what you would do to create the engineer one is the exact same process, but with the engineer. With the rifleman box. Jump in here, export the rifleman kit. You would remove, first you would remove all the carryalls. You would add the echo backpacks because they obviously need access to that. Export it, put it in here, do the same process, grab the explosives, add it in here, combine them, copy, paste into this kit, and then you've got your engineer box. Okay, same process for the golf section staff, golf gunner, and the same idea was with the marksman / rifleman kit. Okay, so you got base rifleman without launchers. This allowed me to create the marksman kit with the rifles that they use. So obviously it's been created, but with the M24, so what I did is I went through and placed all the sniper rifles or marksman rifles that I'm giving them access to. I then grabbed a rifleman kit without the launchers, so they have access to the same rifles, and combined the two. Okay, it's just like a storage, so that if I ever need that, I've got that available. The exact same idea is over here. So you've got general items and suppressors, ammo only, suppressors. Okay, so I've got all the weapons that were available. I've got all the suppressors that were available. Okay, and so that way, if I want to add suppressors into the mission, I can just export that and put it into the general items, or that one, because I've also made myself a general items one. Okay, this all role crate here is what's available in the training server, and that gives us access to everything. So all of these arsenals combined. Just get rid of these. Oops. I've just combined all of those arsenals. So to do that, I literally exported every single one, combined them, even though it was doubling up, and I imported it into this crate. It took like a good 2 minutes to import, but it did it, and it just combined all of that shit for me, so it was super easy. Okay, so hopefully now that you understand that, you'll be able to create your own if necessary. I am more than willing to help if you guys do get stuck, or you do have questions about this, because it can be a bit daunting, but hopefully with that explanation and just spending a bit of time looking at this, you guys will soon understand, because it's not that complex. But I just understand that scripting and stuff can be a bit daunting. Alright, I'm going to take a quick break before stepping on to the updating the mission which Wanderer has been so kind to provide for this week, and I'm going to use that as an example on how to update your mission to the new mission template and everything that I would expect. Alrighty, I'll see you guys shortly. Alrighty, so now we're looking at Wanderer's mission. So the first thing that we can do is we can add the required mission files and remove any that aren't necessary at this time. So essentially, lads, what you can do is you can go through, you can grab everything that's in there except the mission.sqm, delete it, and that's how your mission will appear when you originally save it. The easiest way for you guys to update is to do this. Go into the mission template, grab everything but the mission SQM, and for this mission we don't need CBRN, TFAR, jamming, or the MCI, AI MCI. So I'm going to get rid of that as well. Okay, so you don't need that optional files or scripts. Copy that, paste that into here. Always do a quick refresh to make sure, and you're done. Okay, so that's all you need to do for your mission file. That will add the arsenal that we were going over before, and it will clean up all the unnecessary scripts that we had, and also it will add in the new resupply and Echo repair bay scripts and everything that's required. Alrighty, now we're going to go into updating the actual mission itself. Now there is a bit that you will have to update. You'll essentially have to redo your HQ, or at minimum, your players and the respawn system. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I update it, or how I transfer to a new mission. So I grab, excuse me, all of this, being all the ASOT units. I grab all of the Echo trucks and things that it's required. I'll grab the Golf vehicles and things required. So to do that, holding shift, drag a box around it. Grab all the hotel stuff. And I think that's pretty much it. Not going to need anything else generally. Okay, copy, copy, copy. I just hit it a couple of times to make sure. I'm not going to worry about the reinsertion area at this time because I don't think we're going to really need that anymore. So I copy that stuff. I then open up the mission, being this one here. You can copy things obviously from mission to mission. You can actually merge missions together as well, but obviously note that they'll have to be on the same map. So let this load in for a sec. Cool. Alright, now this is the mission as it is. So as Wanderer and I looked at it last night, I didn't actually change any of the content really. I did a couple of things, but nothing major, because I wanted to show you guys. So as you can see, he's made it quite a good HQ layout. Very simple. Lots of, the required space, not excessive space. And he's got all the correct layout and everything like that. So I just go to a big open area so I can paste in my stuff. It's gonna freeze for a sec, and then it will paste in. Okay, drag it all together so it's a bit easier to do. Now, so I'm going to have to go through. I'll just quickly look where he's got everything. Charlie. So 1, 0, 1, 1 must be there, sorry. Golf's there. Hotel's there. So where's 1, 1? Oh, yep, we're in the hangar. Alright, cool. So I know where everything is roughly, so now I can go through. I can delete all of the... God damn it. The original. Doing this by holding control and left clicking. Get rid of the reservists as well. I think that's everyone. Delete. The respawn modules can actually stay there. They're fine. I am going to delete all the signs though. Sign. And I think, did I get all of them? Yep, cool. Now, with the arsenals, you can actually get away with not having to delete all of these. It's up to you. So there's a couple of ways. You can just select them all. So I only selected 3 there, but you could select them all, select this box so they're all the same, and empty them. And then you would simply add the required script to that, to the init, okay? And to get that, you would just go into any of these boxes, grab that, and off you go, okay? And paste it into there. That's one way. The other way is you can obviously just, as you're placing these guys, you can drag and drop the arsenal in the location with them. Please excuse me one sec. Just having a coughing fit. So that's another way that you can do it. And because you're going to have to drag the signs over as well. Yeah, and so then you just need to drag the signs into that location now. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll fast forward it though so you don't have to watch that completely. Okay, so one thing I'm going to talk about while I do this last part is that note that I have the Arsenal database. Okay, so again, this is something that is absolutely vital. Doesn't matter where it's going to go because it's going to be invisible. But absolutely vital that you have that Arsenal database. Now also, you see here that it's called Arsenal database _2. Like the headless clients, it needs to be called Arsenal database, okay? This will need to be renamed to Arsenal database for it to work similar to headless clients, exactly as that little comment says. Okay, so make sure that you have that. Now, other things that I noted whilst I was moving those guys around is the location of the arsenals themselves. I had a couple of them that were on top of the respawn marker, so obviously just make sure that you ensure that doesn't happen. So I had to go back and remove them. Now the other thing with the Zeus modules, which I'm not sure where Wanderer put them. Let me just have a quick look. Oh, okay, he might not have actually had them, so that's lucky. So absolutely make sure you got your Zeus modules, lads. They weren't located in here, so you need the headless client modules, which again, you need to rename these to 1 and 2 respectively. The A spectator, you can get rid of that, that's fine. And the fortify, you need to make sure that's here as well. Okay, so just place them somewhere, and then make sure that also rename these guys. This is because there's 2 versions on the oh, actually sorry, you don't have to do that because I've actually named these as they are, so sorry, ignore that last part. But yes, you definitely have to rename the headless clients. All right, cool. So that's my new HQ layout. So not too long, you know, maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes. It was obviously sped up for you guys, but for me, probably only like 5 minutes or so, not even. Now we're going to have to replace vehicles and add any extra additional fun stuff. So for this mission, we might actually trial the new man truck, because why not? So I'm going to get rid of the old Hammett. I would have to get rid of the Hammett anyway, okay, and replace it with a Hammett because it has been updated, okay? So everything in the template, or correction, a lot of the stuff in the template has been updated, okay? So you guys will need to make sure that if you're using Echo trucks and things like that, that they get updated. 2 of them, because that's their spare, okay, because they can't recover their own Explodey Boy vehicle. Yep, we're going to chuck the trucks in. Sorry, the repair bays in. Because again, why not? We get to use them for the first time in this mission. One there, one there. Get rid of that. Excuse me. Now, this, I was thinking we might use this for the mission, so I'm going to chuck the Namira in. Because the Namira now has a feature where it can drop the plow and will actually demo mines and IEDs and stuff. So kind of cool. So we'll leave that there. The ammo truck here, I'm going to, for golf, I am just going to replace it just because I'm not 100% confident that it's the right one. So I'm going to swap that out. What have we got here? Mev. Yep, that can stay. That's no problem for Mike. Now these Coyotes, I was also going to swap out as per discussion with Wanderer. And we're going to go to the MRAPs. And we'll go the HMG. Now they should have the same amount of wheels, I believe. Actually, no, they've got an extra set of wheels. So make sure we get 6 each. Just do a quick check. Storage. Yep, perfect. So he's done that perfectly. Cool. But what we're going to actually do is we're going to remove that. We're going to remove 10's vehicles. And we're going to have 10 crew them. And then the guys will actually mount in them. So something a bit different. Alright. So we've done all that. I don't think we need... Oh, actually, sorry, I'll just quickly grab the Echo supply trucks. We'll just move Golf out of the way slightly here. Place down the Echo supply trucks. Be a bit squeezed in there. That's alright, we'll make it fit. Cool. Echo's got a lot of access to things now. Lucky ducks. Alright, so we can get rid of all that. Now, the Hotel Birds, he's got it pretty well set up. The only difference that we've got now is we don't need the MEV version anymore. He's got 4 pylons, 2 pylons, 2 pylons, 2. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of one of the 2 pylons, which then means I can... Get over here, you bugger. I can squish them down, and we can probably get rid of the blackfish, to be honest, for this mission. Which then means we've got all this extra room. So what we'll probably do, stick our fucking Zeus's out there somewhere. Grab this. Oh, you bastard. There we go. Close that up to there, and that saves us on a few objects. Like so. Yeah, that'll do. Maybe even bring them up a little bit closer. Maybe the 4 pylons maybe to there. Offset them. So still plenty of room, but we can save again. I know it's only like 3 or 4 objects, but that's how we have so many people with such good frames, because we do things like that. Cool. So I'm actually pretty happy with all of that then, so I don't need all of that, don't need that. Not going to give him the Avenger. This I will replace just to be sure, again, just for your own sanity and for Hotel's sanity as well. You know what, bugger it, I wasn't going to include the fob truck, which is that man truck, but why not? If for some reason we need it, it'll be then available. Okay, alright, so HQ is now updated. So again, 10, 15 minutes maybe, not too long, so don't get too daunted by that. You're just going to have to swap out vehicles, swap out the signs, replace down the guys. Now we will do our final check and make sure that we've got everyone in the correct order, but we'll do that towards the end. It's one of my final checks that I normally do. Now, something I wanted to talk to you or show you guys regarding triggers. Okay, so you guys, a little bit of spoilers, but this is a car bomb or an IED. This trigger will set that car IED off and therefore will blow up. Now, this trigger, as you can see, it extends all the way up, pretty much infinite into the sky. If Hotel flies through that, they're going to trigger it. Okay, so something with triggers that I would recommend, if you only want it to be triggered by ground units, is you need to set a height. So this is the size, so width and length. Then you need the height. So -1 is infinite upwards and downwards, actually, I believe as well. But yeah, I would set that to maybe like 3 meters. And as you can see, it reduces it down. So now that anyone that drives or walks through there is going to set it off, but Hotel aren't. Okay, so very important. With this mission, again, Pilgrim has done an awesome job, but there's no need for the extra AI. Okay, if you want things like this placed down in a particular way or at a particular point, then just take a screenshot of it and put it in the Zeus notes and say, hey, I want it set up like this, and they can organize that for you. Alright, so don't stress about that, because we may as well not load it or load all these guys when we're at HQ, because tanking the server over a long time does affect it, whereas if we keep it as clean as possible and only add stuff as we need it, then it's a lot better. Okay, so I would then go through and I would remove all of the red 4, except this one particular bloke. Ah, damn it, I still got rid of him. Which one is he? What group is he? He's 2-4. Bravo 2-4. There we go. Alright, cool. So that just clears out all the enemy as well. Alright. That's pretty much it, gents. So you've got the mission files, the edit to the HQ. Alright. So you're going to have to replace the billboards, the class names, vehicles. Always copy and paste them from the template. Unless, obviously, you've created a mission. So let's say Wanderer has this mission now. He can then copy and paste this HQ because he knows that's all from the template. Alright? But anytime there is a mission template update, this is what you should do to ensure that you get everything correct. Because it might be just a simple script change in the init file, or sorry, the init of a vehicle. Okay, it might be a simple script change in this. Okay, and this is the golf spawner, the crate spawner. So it needs to all be correct. So if there isn't ever a template update, I would recommend grabbing it all, redoing your HQ. All the sandbags and stuff can stay, and the hangars and that, but all of it else needs to be updated. So that's sort of something to consider when you're making your missions. So maybe, well, actually I wouldn't really say that. I was going to say leave the HQ till last, but that's generally what you want to get done first. But alright, up to you, but you need to remember that when these updates happen, that you are ready to update them via the template. Okay. If you guys do have any questions, I know it's a long video. Hopefully jumping to where you need to go is sweet and you're good to go. But yeah, let's jump into mission making. Knock out those missions, knock out those campaigns, because you guys are vital to the running of the group. So you absolutely need to be working. And unfortunately, J2 is one of those roles that doesn't really get to rest. But don't ever forget that I severely appreciate you guys being part of J2, as it helps me immensely. And you guys are doing an awesome job so far. So keep up the great work. Any questions at any time, obviously hit up anyone within J2. If you guys get stuck on anything, if you want to try anything new, anything. I can't say anything enough. Just ask and we'll get it done. We'll figure out a way to have it work for your mission. Now, any of the new features and stuff like that that you spot or you play around with and you want to use or implement, just hit myself or someone up in J2. We'll discuss it and we can go ahead and give it a try. All right, lads, that's it for today. Thanks very much. I'll see you guys throughout the coming weeks.